So guys, something very tragic happened on Wednesday, the 9th of July 2025 in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Anambra State, Nigeria. The news has been circulating on social media mainly because of the circumstances that led to the avoidable tragedy. According to reports, it all began on Friday, July 4th, 2025, when a 19-year-old law student at Nnamdi Azikiwe University faced the most terrifying moment of her life. Her name was Chioma Ajana, and what happened to her that day would soon become a story that no one at the university would forget in a hurry. Based on the available reports, Chioma had returned to her hostel room at El Mada Hostel, a private accommodation facility inside the university campus. She shared this room with two other students, and like any typical day, she was looking forward to returning to her room to rest and also take care of her daily needs. However, on getting to the hostel, she realized that the key to her room was nowhere to be found. At first, this might seem like a minor inconvenience that happens to students all the time, but for Chioma, this was about to become a matter of life and death. You see, Chioma was not just any ordinary student, she was diabetic, which meant her body could not control blood sugar levels properly. For someone with diabetes, having access to medication is not just important, it is absolutely critical for survival. And that medication, her insulin, was locked inside the room she could no longer access. Feeling the familiar signs that her blood sugar was dropping, Chioma knew she had to act fast. She may have continued the search for the key, knowing the hefty penalty that came with not finding it. However, as time passed, Chioma began to feel dizzy and weak. These were warning signs that her body was crying out for help. She knew exactly what was happening to her, and she knew that without her insulin, things were about to get much worse. With her roommates by her side, Chioma rushed to the hostel reception to speak with the person in charge. The woman they needed to see was identified simply as Mrs. Bright, the hostel mistress, who was reported to have had access to the spare keys to all the rooms in the hostel. Surely, you would think Mrs. Bright would understand the emergency and help them access the room immediately. But what happened next would shock everyone who heard about the story. When Chioma and her roommates explained their situation to Mrs. Bright, begging her to open their room so Chioma could get her life-saving medication, Mrs. Bright gave them an answer that no one expected. According to the hostel policy, she told them anyone who lost their room key would have to pay a fine before getting access to a spare key. The amount was not small. It was 120,000 naira in total. Since there were 3 students in the room, each one would have to pay 40,000 naira before Mrs. Bright would provide them with a spare key. The students were stunned. They explained to Mrs. Bright that they did not have that kind of money with them at the moment. More importantly, they stressed that this was a medical emergency. Chioma needed her insulin immediately, and her condition was getting worse by the minute. But Mrs. Bright was unmoved. According to reports, she insisted that rules were rules. She told them that the policy must be followed and there would be no exceptions. The students pleaded with her, explaining that Chioma's health was at risk, but their pleas fell on deaf ears. What the students didn't know at the time was that Mrs. Bright's interpretation of the policy was not even correct. Later investigations would reveal that the hostel's policy did not actually prevent staff from providing spare keys in emergency situations. This meant that Mrs. Bright had all the power to help Chioma all along, but she chose not to do so. As the hours passed, Chioma's condition began to worsen rapidly. Her roommate stayed by her side, trying to comfort her and also find other solutions. They carried her to a bench nearby and tried to get her water, hoping that it would help stabilize her condition. But without her insulin, Chioma's body was fighting a battle it could not win. According to an eyewitness account, Chioma fought for her life for about 25 agonizing minutes while Mrs. Bright sat nearby, reportedly chewing bubble gum and using her phone, totally unbothered by the crisis unfolding before her very eyes. When Chioma eventually lost consciousness and collapsed to the floor, a crowd of panicking students formed around her. Mrs. Bright reportedly stood up and tried to leave the scene, but was stopped by the students. It was at this point that she finally agreed to open the room door, but by then, it was already too late. While the students were able to retrieve Chioma's insulin and also administer it, she had already suffered a life-threatening complication. The students immediately rushed her to the University Medical Center, but when they arrived, they found that no medical personnel were on duty. She was then transferred to another medical center where doctors worked frantically to stabilize her condition. Despite the best efforts of the medical team, Chioma's condition remained critical. She had been fighting for her life for 3 days, and her body was simply too weak to continue the battle. On Wednesday, July 9, 2025, just 5 days after reportedly losing her room key, Chioma Isabella passed away. She was only 19 years old, a young woman with dreams of becoming a lawyer and also making a difference in the world. She had been looking forward to being called to the Law Students Association bar the following week, an event she had been excitedly preparing for. The news of Chioma's death spread quickly throughout the university, and the reaction was immediate and intense. Students were not just sad, they were angry. They could not understand how something so preventable had been allowed to happen. As tragic as Chioma's story was, she was not the only victim of the hostel's strict policy. As the news of her death spread, other students began to come forward with their own experiences of mistreatment at the hands of hostel management. These stories painted a picture of a system that prioritized rules and money over the welfare of students. A 300-level microbiology student shared a similar experience from the previous year. She had suffered a serious health emergency when her door also jammed, but the hostel staff had allegedly refused to assist her. Like Chioma, she had been left to suffer while the staff insisted on following procedures. Another student revealed that she once missed an important 7 a.m. quiz because the hostel refused to release a spare key to her room. There were several other bad experiences shared by students, but the common factor among them was the lack of human sympathy and the putting of policies before people. The students' anger was not just about Chioma's death, but about a system that seemed designed to extract money from them while providing very little in return.
Hello, good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Could you please tell us your name?
My name is Mrs. Amaka Ugu.
What is your duty here?
I'm a supervisor in Block B, Murder Hostel.
Okay.
Block A, Murder Hostel.
Okay. Could you please tell us about the incident that occurred in this hostel, I think on Sunday or Monday?
Sunday, Monday, I cannot tell. I will say on a Monday I came to work. So when I came to work on Monday, around some minutes after 8 o'clock, while entering my office, I saw a security man coming downstairs, and I asked him, why are you coming from the hostel, girls' hostel? He said that he helped to carry a girl that is sick to her room. And I asked what's the room number. He told me. I now ran to the room and saw what was happening. But before then, my co-supervisor in Block B was there attending to her. So when I got there, and I asked what the matter was. So they didn't tell me because everybody was panicking before we now took her to medical center. I asked them whether they have taken her to anywhere. They say yes, that they have taken her to the medical center. I met no one there before they brought her back. I say, why? Why not take her to another hospital where it will be late?
And the medical center is in the school?
Yes, it's inside the school.
How come nobody was in the medical center?
I don't know. I can't tell.
Okay, continue.
Yes, so we now brought her down again and took her back to the medical center. By then, I called them. They said that they have opened before they now referred them to Amako. That was the extent I knew about it.
Okay, right now, where are the roommates, or do you have an idea of anything the school is doing about the situation? Because online and all social media platforms, nobody has said anything about this incident.
The room, for now, the roommates, when I came to work this morning, I met one of the roommates. They said that she's invited to the security office. I don't know about the friend and one of the roommates. They are invited to the security office. I don't know about the other one. I don't know where about the third roommate.
Okay. The matron on duty, the matron that allegedly requested for 120,000 before she could release a new spare key to them for her to get her medication. Where is the matron at the moment?
I don't know if the matron requested for the money for spare keys, but at the moment, I think she has gone home because we closed by 2 o'clock that Saturday. I think she will be in her house then.
Okay.
I'm not too sure, but I know she will be in her house because we don't stay all the day. Yes.
Okay. But according to the post made online, it's alleged that this hostel has a policy of when you lose your key, you'll be asked to pay for a certain amount before you could get a spare key. Is there any policy like that in this hostel?
Not for a spare key. It's when they lose their keys entirely. When they lost it, is when they are asked to pay for that money. But if you misplaced your key, and you ask for the spare key, it will be given to you. Open your door, then you bring back the spare key. We keep it back.
Okay. Thank you for giving us attention and telling us what you know about this case. Thank you very much.
In response to the growing outrage, the university administration has reportedly set up a panel to investigate the incident. However, at the time of making this report, the university authorities were yet to make a public statement on the issue. The case is still under investigation, but as it